Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pink Shade. It's Thursday, and that means it's Pop and Bravo, and I have a very special guest today. It is famous podcaster, writer extraordinaire. It is Molly McAleer. Hey, Molly.
Hi, Mary Payne. I'm so excited to be here.
When you look up, so I know your current podcast is Trend Lightly, but your resume and what you've done in the biz is so crazy because you founded Hello Giggles, which was it's for a younger crowd.
It was for girls. It's like I think that it was supposed to be like girl friendly, but I think our target audience did wind up being women around the age that I was when I started it, which is like 25.
Yeah. And you founded that. And you've been a writer on Two Broke Girls. And then you had the really popular podcast, Mother May I Sleep With podcast, and Please Advise. Huge in the podcast world.
Really?
Yeah.
I think, Please Advise it's unbelievable when I look back some of the guests that we got on that show. And it was one of those things where after 6 years, my best friend, Christina, people always ask if Christina and I are still friends. She's absolutely my ride or die till I die. But it sort of like had reached a natural ending point. But that show, we had some really crazy guests on there that I can't believe they agreed to come and sit in Christina's apartment with us or going to pass and record these, sort of answering questions from mostly younger people in various forms of crisis. It was really fun. And Mother May I Sleep With podcast is definitely, I don't know if it's so popular. It's incredibly niche. It's a long form Lifetime original movie recap. I don't know if you can even call it a recap because tends to be twice the length of the movie itself. But it's a really long form discussion, and I've enjoyed I love podcasting. I mean, it's the best.
Yeah, I mean, when your name popped up, I'm like, okay, I know her because she's in this world, and then I'd kind of forgotten about the Hello Giggles thing, which was such a huge thing. But again, I was probably, when it came around, probably, at home with like a 5 and a 7-year-old, and it wasn't in my wheelhouse, but it was a huge thing. And you founded that with Zooey Deschanel, who I have to assume you met from working on Two Broke Girls.
No, actually. So when Zooey and Zooey didn't have New Girl. I didn't have Two Broke Girls at the time. We started this before that. And it was kind of a crazy, intense couple years of any kind of, for me, random girl from Massachusetts, which I am. I came out to LA and just sort of was working in gossip blogs and all this stuff. And then I built sort of a name for myself. That's when I met Sophia, who was our third partner on. Yeah. And then Sophia and I had this idea to start a website. She wound up in the middle of us sort of trying to figure out, we had picked the name Hello Giggles at my kitchen table in Hollywood, and Zooey and her were in a workout class. And she mentioned to Zooey that she was starting a website with her friend Molly, and Zooey said, "Oh, I want to do a website." Oh. And so she became our third partner. But yeah, I mean, that was really how we met and how we all got together.
That's crazy. And then you guys sold it, and now it's part of like Time Magazine. I mean, I assume, again, it's not in my age group, so I assume it's still around and it's still a thing, and you sold it and you've moved on from it a long time ago.
Yeah. So at the 2.5 year mark, I guess technically kind of 3-year mark, because we had been working behind the scenes for a while, I decided to informally leave Hello Giggles. So I was still, I still was a co-founder of it, but I was no longer involved in the day-to-day of the website. It was a lot to be writing on a very demanding, one of the most popular television shows on TV, and running a website where, that was on my pee breaks. I'd be responding to editorial emails and coaching people through pieces and giving notes. And that was really more my part of things was I like onboarded essentially the first 200 writers that we had.
Wow.
And a lot of them were people that I knew from being a Tumblr person myself.
Yeah.
So, I decided to like leave sort of a day-to-day role at Hello Giggles. And I also wound up leaving Two Broke Girls after my contract was up on my 3rd year. It was just, it was a lot. I was a young person. Like,
that's a lot.
It was a lot.
2 separate careers, really.
Yeah. And that's like kind of when I picked up podcasting a little bit, was around then. But it's funny, like, even though Hello Giggles sold, I guess maybe it would probably be a little bit over 10 years ago now, I still get emails, like cold emails from people asking me if I can like pull off some favor for Hello Giggles. And I'll run into Hello Giggles in like weird ways online. I think that they will publish on People Online or something. There will be like things that are under the Hello Giggles brand. And it always makes me laugh because I just like, I can't believe kind of what it's turned into, it's kind of cool.
It's very cool. It's very cool because you're young and you've got all this stuff under your belt. And now tell me, like, Solid Listen Network is your network. So you have a podcast network.
I just felt I needed to put a name on something that I had been doing for a while, like sort of just like a little tile or a shed for everything that I was doing, and anyone that I thought was like great that I wanted to work with underneath one banner. It made more sense than just sort of not having a title for it. And so that's what I've been doing for the last few years. I am starting a little something on the side, though, even outside of Solid Listen, which is where I'm going to be recapping and making commentary on and writing blog entries and articles on the Karen Reed case out of Massachusetts, my home state, which is like a really big case. And I believe one of the few people who vocally thinks that she is guilty. And it's the unpopular opinion, but I think it's right. And sometimes you have to say things that are not popular, but they might be right. So I'm like really looking forward to that. And I think my friend Meredith Lynch, who is going to be joining in on some of that with me, which is exciting. Yeah, I know Meredith. I met Meredith through another Meredith Constant, who does a lot of writing about the Royals and stuff. And she used to be a weekend co-host with me. We talked about, what were we talking about? Seeking Sister Wife. That's a good show. Seeking Sister Wives, a CLC show, and Meredith Constant co-hosted with me on that for a while. And through Meredith Constant, I met Meredith Lynch, and I think she's been on at least once. I enjoyed her a lot. She's very smart. Very smart. Meredith's great. And I have been meaning to meet Meredith Constant for a while. I like appreciate anyone that can take on the insanity of the royal family. Yeah. Especially, I believe she's like a big Meghan supporter, and Meghan needs our support, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, Meredith is great. She's like been a great friend that I have met through TikTok. We randomly went to the same pediatrician as children. And wow, like it was so weird because after we connected, she had grown up in a town adjacent to where I grew up, Lexington, Massachusetts. And she came online one day and made a video and tagged me. And one of the first things she said was, maybe we shared a doctor at Lexington Pediatrics, and like the blood drained from my body because I was like, how does she know where I went to the doctor as a baby? And it just turns out that we have like a life of overlaps, and we're doing now a live show on May 8th in Los Angeles at West Side Comedy with our friend Vanderpump Robs. I don't know if you know Vanderpump. Yeah, I do. Yeah. But he's, it's called Friends Only, and we're also bringing it to Boston in June. So I would love to encourage people to come out to see the three of us there. But so many great people in the mix now. And I'm so excited to meet you finally. I know. We have people in common. So it's always interesting in this world. We were just talking about Ben and Ronnie from Crappens, we both know. And I think the more you talk, and then, of course, I did interrogate you about Karen Kilgariff, who everybody that listens here knows that I'm obsessed with.
and met and acted real weird. But, there's still hope. There's still hope that
that weird. I know. I don't think you were that. I want you to be relieved of any sort of grief you feel about that.
I think I just do what a lot of podcasters do. And that's the reason we became podcasters, is that you talk too much.
Right.
So I did that thing where I was just like, blah, 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 and then not taking a breath and not waiting for an answer. And just like, I had to get it all out. And then that immediately I have regret and feel shame. Like, why can't I just shut up for a second and act like a regular person? But at the end of it, she took a picture and I felt so weird. I was like, I shouldn't touch her. Like, she's Karen. I shouldn't. But she was like, let's get a picture. She's like leaning in. And
initiated a picture. I feel like that's good. I mean, she also might have the like Taylor Swift effect of just knowing that people probably do want to take a picture. I'm sorry. Is my video like continuously glitching?
It's glitching, but the audio is still going. And then like you're freezing and then coming back in. So I think it's all right because now you're back.
How strange. I don't, sorry if I'm talking shop.
That's all right.
Too much, but yeah, that's so strange. But no, I think that you probably did great.
Well, here's hoping. I've got an email out. We'll see. Do you guys ever watch those makeup influencers and think, I wish I could do that? I'm always trying to do a perfect contour or a cat eye. But the truth of the matter is I just use my same old things that I love. And in this case, it is Thrive Cosmetics. And the two things I love the most are their Liquid Lash Extensions mascara and the Buildable Blur concealer. You guys, these two things, I put them on every single day in addition to some eyeliner. And that's it. I call it a day. I'm not going to be able to be like a makeup influencer, but I can look good in the few items that I love. And you know that Thrive Cosmetics makes certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free products you can depend on for daily wear to show stopping self-expression, which sometimes you got to pile that mascara on a little thicker, Let me tell you about the mascara. They have over 40,000 5-star reviews. It lasts all day. And to take it off, you just warm water and a washcloth. And they have something called flake-free tubing formula. And it is cool because when you take it off, they look like little tubes that come off your eyelashes. And it's perfect. And it doesn't irritate your eyes at all. You guys, I love it. And you know that Thrive gives back. They donate funds and products to help communities thrive. So discover your new trusty favorite thing from Thrive Cosmetics, luxury beauty that gives back. And right now you can get exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/pinkshade. That's thrivecosmetics.com/pinkshade. I'm going to spell it for you. Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/pinkshade. You get it? Because they give back. They give to the cause. Thrivecosmetics.com/pinkshade for 20% off your first order. Go get that mascara, guys. You'll love it. Okay, now we're here to talk about pop culture and Bravo. And you did watch a lot of Bravo for this, which I appreciate because you definitely didn't have to. But have you gotten a gander at all on the Baldwins?
Okay, no, but I feel like I have through osmosis.
Okay, yes.
I hear lots of bits and bobs. And this is like my little fun fact for people who have heard me talk about this before. I apologize, but I almost wound up being Hilaria's classmate at Cambridge School of Weston. That was like between two private schools that my mom wanted to send me to when I was a freshman, and I would have been in school with her in Massachusetts. And I look back, I was kind of bummed because Cambridge School of Weston was like the earthy, crunchy school. And I thought I'd be weird if I went there.
Yeah.
Now I realize my life was cut short. I could have known Hilaria Baldwin.
Hillary at the time.
Sure.
Yeah. That is fascinating. You could have been one of those people that they interviewed. Like, when you knew her, did she have an accent? And you would say, no, she did not, because she's from Boston.
I'd be doing exclusives.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
The show is good. I like it because I think just most people in the world like Alec Baldwin. He's funny. He's a little self-deprecating, and she sort of makes fun of him as well, as we see on social media. And I think they're a wonderful couple, and I think it's a chaotic show.
Do you really think they're a wonderful couple?
I do.
Well, okay, tell me about this because that is a hot take, Mary Payne. I have heard everyone say that like it's a mess, like she's mean to him. She thinks he's
Yeah.
bullied. And I don't, I'm big on being like, he's probably not. I never believe people when people are like, oh, his wife's terrible. I never believe people about that because I'm like, she's probably great and you're reading it wrong. I'm fascinated that you are the one person I've heard say, I don't think she bullies him.
I think it's all for this is our shtick.
Yeah.
He's allergic to cats, so I got 4 cats. Like he hates the dogs, so I got 4 dogs. And like, oh, it's funny because we're going to put all the cats in the car with dad. It's like I think this is her shtick, and it's a lot of her sort of. This last week, she got up on a ladder. She was looking for a toy a kid had lost. And she told the production, like, get him in the kitchen talking about something so he won't see what I'm doing. Like, just ask him the history of anything. And he just goes on and on and on. He loves to hear himself talk. And she comes back in the kitchen and she says, I took this video, as you can see, of the gutters when I was looking for the thing. He goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to get up on a ladder and blow the gutters out. And she goes, no. And one of the kids just kind of walks by and goes, no, she says you're too big. You're not allowed to get on the ladder. And so he looks right at the camera like Jim from The Office and goes, you see, they just constantly call me. They constantly called me old and fat. And they do. They constantly call him old and fat. Like she goes, nobody said that. Nobody said that, Alec. Nobody said that.
Well, maybe he likes it,
He likes it.
What I think is that sometimes people just don't understand teasing. I don't think that I would make it through my relationship if I couldn't roast the man to death. But like, who knows? It's fun and sexy for them.
I think so. I mean, they've got a lot of kids. They're doing it a lot. And I think now he's slimmed back down. I think he's looking better because he was depressed for those years because of obviously the shooting that occurred. So we're coming out on the other side of that on the show. It's only 8 episodes. And the first 3 were really all about the trial and sort of now this coming back to the other side of it where they're leaving the Hamptons and they're going back into the city for the summer. And hilarity ensues. I got to tell you, I've loved every minute of it. I hope there's a season 2.
Yeah, I think I need to get in on that and watch that because I feel like I think I'll be the judge and jury on what's going on in that relationship. In my opinion, I'll be. You and I are going to figure this out because here's the thing: actors are weird, and people forget that. I think that because people have such steam for her, which I feel. I don't really, I've sort of ignored some of the Pepino people and all that stuff. I think a lot of it's kind of toxic. I kind of don't really know what people's ultimate issue is with her beside faking that she's Spanish.
That's the issue. That's the only issue, really. It's a pretty big one, just faking you're an entirely other nationality. And they discuss it several times. Yeah.
But I wonder, I wonder how much of it is that he's a weird actor and this is like the level that he wants his spouse to come in on, this sort of eccentric thing.
Yes.
Maybe I'll be the toxic person that's like, I like her.
I think that you will watch it and you will say to me, you know what? I think you're right. I think they're making this work. I think that they're just weird enough to be together. This week we had his assistant on, and that I always love to get the assistant because I myself have been an assistant many times, and that's where you get all the information. And she came on. She was like, "Yeah, I'm just part of the family. We're just here. I have to send him a Microsoft Word calendar every night at 8 p.m. Even though it's a living document that changes constantly, he wants it every night at 8 p.m. in a Microsoft Word format, and he won't do it on his phone. So every night at 8 p.m. is when he finds out what the next day is, and then it's changed 3 times. But
because it comes to the top of his email, probably.
He just wants it in a Microsoft Word document. He doesn't want it on his calendar. He doesn't want it on the calendar on his phone at all.
Yeah, he is an old man. You know what I mean? He wants his old man comforts. Yeah. Absolutely. God bless.
Yeah, I enjoy all of it. So I would 10 out of 10 recommend. I think this coming week will be next week will be the finale. So, all right, speaking of that, you have to say yes, you watch White Lotus.
So
Molly, I don't like the way this is going already.
I know, Mary Payne, I told you I was going to be your foreign exchange student during this episode. Like, I'm very much Like, I very much have joined the family for the summer here, I feel. I've watched a lot of it through TikTok. I'll say that.
Sure.
Which is maybe not the best way to consume a television show, but I am a fan of the series. And I think that it's great. I'm really happy that a show like this exists,
Yeah. Okay. So you haven't watched season 3 at all?
Well, I've told you, I've watched quite a bit of it through TikTok.
No, I need you to sit down with your HBO Max and just go all the way through.
Okay,
yeah, I need you to. I try to avoid spoilers, although at this point, Yellow Jackets. Were you watching that? Did you watch it at all? The first season was incredible.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. I feel like a flop. I watched some Real Housewives for you.
Yes.
The Spectrum recently. I went to college with one of the guys on the Valley. Vanderpump Rules. I know.
Okay.
Cruz's autism diagnosis just dropped.
That happened today. I'm
in the universe. I just I apologize.
I'm just trying to find out, because if you did watch Yellow Jackets, we could talk about, but if you didn't, then I'm not going to say anything. I've got people that I will text about Yellow Jackets, and I'll just kind of say, like, what'd you think at the end of the episode? And they're like, not there yet. I'm leaving the chat. So I won't discuss it, because season 1, incredible, like White Lotus level, Sopranos level, incredible television. Season 2, maybe not so much. Season 3, they started bringing it around episode 4. So
is that the show that's like, is it a bit dystopian?
A little bit, because it's a girls soccer team, and they have gone to some championship or something, and they crash, and it goes from the present time to back when they were there. So when they were teenagers stranded to the present time. And it's Melanie Linsky's in it, and Juliette Lewis was in it last season.
Love
and
Melanie
then Christina Ricci. So it's it's an incredible cast. Really good. But so, all right, that's on your list. Do you guys ever watch those makeup influencers and think, I wish I could do that? I'm always trying to do a perfect contour or a cat eye. But the truth of the matter is, I just use my same old things that I love. And in this case, it is Thrive Cosmetics. And the two things I love the most are their Liquid Lash Extensions mascara and the Buildable Blur concealer. You guys, these two things, I put them on every single day in addition to some eyeliner, and that's it. I call it a day. I'm not going to be able to be like a makeup influencer, but I can look good in the few items that I love. And you know that Thrive Cosmetics makes certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free products you can depend on for daily wear to show stopping self-expression, which sometimes you got to pile that mascara on a little thicker, Let me tell you about the mascara. They have over 40,000 5-star reviews. It lasts all day. And to take it off, you just warm water and a washcloth. And they have something called flake-free tubing formula. And it is cool because when you take it off, they look like little tubes that come off your eyelashes. And it's perfect. And it doesn't irritate your eyes at all. You guys, I love it. And you know that Thrive gives back. They donate funds and products to help communities thrive. So discover your new trusty favorite thing from Thrive Cosmetics, luxury beauty that gives back. And right now you can get exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/pinkshade. That's thrivecosmetics.com/pinkshade. I'm going to spell it for you. Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/pinkshade. You get it? Because they give back. They give to the cause. Thrivecosmetics.com/pinkshade for 20% off your first order. Go get that mascara, guys. You'll love it. Now, you said the Valley. All right, the Valley's coming up next week. I'm going to be covering it. And who did you go to high school with from the Valley?
The one who's married to Janet, I went to college with him.
Okay. The one who's married to Janet is Jason.
Jason, yeah.
And he's good friends with my friend, Matt Marr, who has Reality Gaze podcast.
Okay, cool.
The one that I told you pulled me over to make me talk to Karen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So now we have another crossover. And so did you find Jason to be a hot delight? Because he's very good looking.
I would say that's the extent of my interactions with Jason. He's a year older than me. He was friendly with my best friend, Ed. They were always at the Plex together, like running into each other, working out. And you know, Boston College is very white. And so he was like really one of the few non-white people at Boston College. And he was like, and stunning. And like, so he was very much like he caught everyone's eye. He was like definitely like a hot guy that everyone knew.
Did he meet Janet at college, or they must have met afterwards in LA maybe?
No, I assume they met in LA. To me, it's so interesting that someone who went to BC like is on Bravo, to be honest, because like BC is so away. It's such a certain way that you are. Like, I'm kind of a freak for being online and for being someone who like posted my face on YouTube back in the day. Like, I think that I'm kind of considered like a freak. So it's really interesting to see people on Bravo now. Maybe you're not such a freak if you appear on Bravo now, but like for a very long time, that's sort of how I always thought of the Vanderpump Rules cast when they first started as well. Yeah. Like, oh, these are people I would never interact with, but they absolutely exist in my city.
Didn't Andy Cohen go to Boston College?
He went to BU.
That's different.
Yeah, but it's like not. I mean, there's allegedly a rivalry there, but like it's
okay.
And it's same but different.
Same, yeah. Boston is Boston. Okay, so did you watch season 1 of The Valley then?
I did watch most of it, yeah.
Okay, that was really good. It was, when they said it, a lot of kind of Bravo podcasts were like, oh, this is going to suck. We're just going to kind of half watch it. I was like, are you kidding me? It seems like gold.
Yeah.
And it was. And the second season is going to be even better.
You know, I find myself very unnerved by Kristen. I don't really enjoy watching Kristen because it's so...
You're worried.
Yeah, and it's like a little bit of secondhand embarrassment. And there's a lot going on in my mind in terms of, you know, sometimes I feel like Lisa Vanderpump was insanely cruel to her and it was unnecessary. But then I'll reflect on Kristen's behavior for a minute and I'm kind of like, I can't blame her for not wanting that around.
Yeah.
So I was like, I understand a little bit of the hesitation because if the people we know going into the Valley are Jax, Brittany, and Kristen, that's not the most appealing platter of individuals. And it'll be interesting to see. I am a Lala and a Sheena apologist. Of course, I'm Team Ariana all the way on Vanderpump, but like, I think that I understood Lala's frustration with, we have to do a show. This is quite literally a job.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was confused by the audience confusion about, like they're not real friends. It's like, well, the job has to be done. Like Tom Sandoval's gonna be there. Like no one's allowed to just like not do their job and interact with this person.
Right.
So I am a Lala apologist. I love Sheena. I love Sheena for being unapologetically Sheena. She is who she is and she's nothing else. Yeah. And so I'm excited to see them over there for sure.
I think my understanding is that because Jax leaves to go to treatment or wherever he went, I think he went twice. When he leaves, then they kind of come in to kind of fill that gap of, a standby Vanderpump person coming in and filming with Brittany probably as a support system for what was going on there. So I'm excited about the whole thing. I'm excited about Janet not being pregnant. So she can't just like blame being pregnant on everything. I think that's good. I love her friend. I love her friend Zach with the Lego hair. I love that guy. I'm very excited about it.
I'm so curious about Zach's system up here. Is it the Lyle Menendez thing where his dad ripped the hair off? Is it one of like a glue wand? Is it a glue wand, do you think?
No, I think that's his hair.
You really think so?
I really do. But I'm always so naive with that. People say all the time, oh, so-and-so is on the news. They have like a hairpiece. I'm like, huh? I never know. But I really do think that's his hair because I think it's so extreme that it has to just be he has so much hair. That's what he has to do with it.
Mary Payne, it's so funny that you say that about wigs because I cannot clock a wig to save my life. Like, I think everything just grew directly out of a person's head. I think every hairstyle is 100% achievable. Like, I think it was like, I remember the day, I think like my brain chemistry changed the day that I realized someone like Jennifer Aniston was wearing extensions. Like, I had no idea what was going on.
I've never put an extension in my head ever, but I'm like, maybe I should get into it.
I did have the beaded extensions once when I was younger. It was for like a web series I was doing where I was going around and doing all these different things. And one was I just really wanted a weave. I like felt like I needed to have one. So I did the ones where they fuse.
They like sew it in?
No, it was like individual beads that were sort of, it's real human hair. And then individual beads are one by one sort of like sealed onto your hair. And it was, and that was probably what like Jennifer Aniston was getting, for example, where it was just really seamlessly in your hair. There was no track, or if you put them up, they weren't separated or anything like that. But
how did it feel when you washed your hair? Did it feel okay? Like I'm always like the washing and I'm going to like tangle it.
It was a full 8-hour process. And this, like, I think, you know, if now they might have like a team of 2 working on you if you were doing that. But this was just me in a salon on Melrose. It was like paid for, obviously, because I think it was probably an $800+ like treatment that I had gotten at the time. Wow. And it was randomly, Justine Bateman was my producer for that show. And, you know, like, we have different beliefs. I just want to put that out there. Like, I don't know what's going on with that, but
she's a bit off the rails these days.
I think she might be. And so I just wanted to establish really quickly that this was a long time ago. And I don't really can't really speak to what's going on there now. Yeah. But she had like done this for me because she knew that I really wanted a weave. She knew that I would document it for the web series, which she was producing. So she, I think it was part of an Oscar gift basket that she got. And she's go get it. So this was like, I experienced one of the treatments that they would normally give to celebrities. And I mean, it went all the way down to my lower back. And yes, it was heavy. It was, my hair wound up growing quite a bit. I had them in for about like 8 months or something. My, it was very dark. I went with the natural curl because I do have naturally curly hair. So I had I just had a whole ass mane of really long, really curly hair.
8 months. I didn't think it lasted that long.
Maybe like 6 or 7, but it was over. I remember like really kind of taking it to the line. I was living in poverty. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, this hair is the nicest thing I have. I'm keeping it. So, but those extensions were wild. The only reason why, and I'm not trying to take away Zach's shine, is that I've become very familiar with those Turkish pieces where they will shave you down to the, and then they'll glue a piece on top of it. And they really work miracles in those sessions. Like, they will take a man they'll shave 10 years off of his face with
we have a guy on 90 Day Fiance that has that. It looks like you snapped it on like a little Lego. But he's from Turkey and everybody's like, that's a complete system. I'm like, of course I'm like, really? Thought that was his hair. They're like, not even close. It's not his hair.
I know, which is why I feel like now when I watched that Ryan Murphy Menendez Brothers series and I watched his mom rip off his hair system, it took on new meaning for me. Like knowing what these hair systems are all about and like what they do for a man, and also how humiliating it would be to have that taken away. It was like, really, I was like, damn. I get it. That
was a glue-on stitch. I mean, that was a early, hair club for men wig situation. That was so long ago. Absolutely. Do you have a hot take on the Menendez brothers getting released, or one or both of them getting released? Maybe.
Are they not getting? I thought that maybe there was a new DA who was not about it.
I think that the new person is like, I don't think we're gonna be looking into that soon.
I think it's under like this new, I think that, I think that they should be free. I think that even I'm very lenient. I'll
Yeah.
make an excuse for anyone. That just tends to be how I am. But I do believe that they were being abused by the father.
Yeah.
I think that there's plenty of stuff that supports that. And everything I've heard about them is that they are actually like very gentle, very kind, very like, educated young men. And I think that like, time has changed so much. Like the way we used to understand things and approach things is so different. And I want to keep seeing progress there. In some ways, that's a big reason why I'm so hooked into this Karen Read case, is because I feel like I'm watching something that is going to be reflected on. There's going to be retrospectives on it where in 5 years, 10 years, when people look back on this trial, I think that they will see the way that the media has gone and the way the defense theory has taken over. And I think really taken advantage of a lot of people's existing and rightful feelings about police corruption and cops essentially being dirty. Like, I think that it's preying on fears, and there's something very like QAnon about it to me. So I'm all about progress when it comes to that sort of justice, and also keeping in mind of like, where we've gone wrong or where we've misplaced disappointment or anger in other ways. Like, I think that Karen Read getting off is a little bit like getting OJ off, like for, as if that is justice for Rodney King or something. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. One, not the other. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is going to be a right turn. Okay, the Beverly Hills reunion. We've had it now 2 episodes. Now, you said that you were kind of like dipping in and out of Beverly Hills, but did you watch the latest reunion that we just had?
Yeah, so I was just watching that. I watched Reunion 1 and I watched Reunion 2, the extended uncensored versions.
I love when they do the cursing on Peacock, don't you?
It's just the best. Yeah. Like, it feels there's like such catharsis there, and I maybe didn't realize that. I think in my mind it was always uncensored. Like, I wasn't hearing the beeps. I was hearing what they were really saying. But when I watch an uncensored, it's like, this is so good.
It really hits. You're like, oh, they do that. They did that the last season that they had of Jersey, and they had it on uncensored on Peacock. And, those ladies can really drop an F-bomb and correctly and properly. And I was like, yeah, it's like, this hits different when you hear like, fuck you, you fucking, cunt, blah, 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 blah. It's like, whoa.
Not to go off topic because you mentioned Jersey, though. Do you think Teresa's husband is going to go to the slammer?
I mean, from your lips to God's ears, I don't know. I think he's a bad dude. I think he's a bad dude.
Yeah, I feel so bad for her.
I don't.
You don't?
No. Listen, fool me once, fool me twice. Now, come on now, girl. I mean, I think that at the very least, he love bombed her, and that's great and whatever. But at the very least, get a prenup with what you went through with your ex-husband. She doesn't have a prenup with him. So you got to protect as a businesswoman who pulled herself back out, from that other marriage and made her own money and all that. She should protect her assets. You can't just live in a love bubble. So no, I don't feel bad.
Yeah, you're right. It's that like Catholic programming really lives in people. And I think it's also that way for like, the white ethnic group, so to speak. Like, I'm not surprised that like an Italian woman would show up for her man again like that and maybe make the same mistake. It's just the programming, I think. But like, you're absolutely right. And I will always root for Teresa. But yeah,
sure, I don't dislike her, but I mean, that was a stupid move to not get a prenup. It's just after what she'd been through. I mean, I don't care how much. I don't care if he was like Steve Jobs, he died. Jeff Bezos, like the richest man in the world. You still should get a prenup to protect your own stuff. Whatever.
Absolutely.
Do you guys ever watch those makeup influencers and think, I wish I could do that? I'm always trying to do a perfect contour or a cat eye. But the truth of the matter is, I just use my same old things that I love. And in this case, it is Thrive Cosmetics. And the two things I love the most are their Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara and the Buildable Blur Concealer. You guys, these two things, I put them on every single day in addition to some eyeliner, and that's it. I call it a day. I'm not going to be able to be like a makeup influencer, but I can look good in the few items that I love. And you know that Thrive Cosmetics makes certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free products you can depend on for daily wear to show stopping self-expression, which sometimes you got to pile that mascara on a little thicker, you know? Let me tell you about the mascara. They have over 40,000 five-star reviews. It lasts all day. And to take it off, you just warm water and a washcloth. And they have something called flake-free tubing formula. And it is cool because when you take it off, they look like little tubes that come off your eyelashes. And it's perfect. And it doesn't irritate your eyes at all. You guys, I love it. And you know that Thrive gives back. They donate funds and products to help communities thrive. So discover your new trusty favorite thing from Thrive Cosmetics, luxury beauty that gives back. And right now you can get exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/pinkshade. That's thrivecosmetics.com/pinkshade. I'm going to spell it for you. Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/pinkshade. You get it? Because they give back. They give to the cause. Thrivecosmetics.com/pinkshade for 20% off your first order. Go get that mascara, guys. You'll love it. So back to Beverly Hills. So I thought it was really great. And I listened to Radio Andy that I guess was from this morning. I guess it had to have been from this morning. They were talking about the Beverly Hills reunion. And Andy was like, look, I did kind of go off on Kyle because I was like, you can't have it both ways. You can't bring Morgan on for an entire season as your friend and then decide first episode of the season. She said, well, I have a friend and we're not going to talk about her or say her name because she's not on the show. And like Garcelle said, well, she's not on the show this season. She was on the show last season. And,
Right.
and so now we're not allowed to say her name, say she's your friend, act like she exists. And that's why Andy goes, you know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't pretend to be sexual in a video. And Andy also made a great point, which is not nobody, but she's become a household name because of the show.
Dorit said that, and I thought that was a really good point from Dorit. Now, I'm sort of piecing together what's gone on with Kyle and Dorit a little bit, but yeah. This Morgan Wade thing is fascinating to me. I don't really know if I care so much if maybe I do care if Kyle and Morgan are.
But now you care more because it's been so like, we can't talk about it. So now it makes you care more. Where she would have said it, you wouldn't give a shit at all.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's super bizarre. I think that anytime a housewife is sort of covering up maybe what they don't want to talk about on the show, I think they're in the wrong venue for that. And I think that the things that have been revealed that people want to keep off the show are always so dark and ugly when we find out, classic example, like Taylor Armstrong, in some ways, like to me, it's whatever it is you're keeping off the show is all the more reason why we should know. Like, why are you being protective of this? Do you know this conspiracy theory about Kyle and Morgan, that maybe Morgan might be Kyle's sponsor for
being sober?
Yeah, her sobriety like coach or partner.
Okay, so who cares? But I don't think.
Maybe that could be a reason why they don't want to discuss that. I think, but I mean, I think it's much more likely that they're just.
I don't think somebody who has an active music career who tours around the world can be a sobriety partner for somebody else. Do you know what I mean? That wouldn't make sense. People that are sobriety partners, that's their full-time job. You can't also be like a traveling musician. And, and I think that Kyle has said very clearly that she never felt she had a drinking problem. And my husband is 10 years sober, so I know of which I speak. Right. I think you should. I thank you to him. Yes, I'll give him. Yeah. He's
for, it's a a lot to be a partner to someone who's in recovery sometimes. Yeah.
It is. And so it's nuanced on this show. And we talk about people's addictions or drinking or whatever on these shows a lot. And for me, it's always interesting coming at it from the side of like, I've seen it,
Sure.
And no, I think Kyle has said flat out, like, no, I never said I had a drinking problem. I just decided for health reasons to stop. And then I realized I felt really good. And so there's no reason to start back. And I think she was very embarrassed by some of her behavior on the show and watching it back and decided to make this change. And I think it all sort of coincided with that sort of opened her eyes to maybe what was really happening in her marriage and the way she had just sort of let things slide,
You're so smart. You're so right. That's a really good way to think of it. I mean, there's, I mean, in terms of maybe being a sponsor or something, I don't know if that's a full-time job, but you do bring up a really good point about maybe a touring musician not being in the ideal position to do that.
Right.
And I know that Kyle has also been touring with Morgan a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really together. Do you think this is the thing that I don't know they would say on Bravo, but that I think could be true? Do you think there's a part of it where Morgan doesn't want to be associated with Bravo because it can be a bit of a punchline. Like it's really hard to get something off the ground or maybe maintain something when you can be pointed out on a Bravo show as like a freak. Like, for example, I don't think someone like Tom Sandoval could ever have a realistic music career. Someone like James Kennedy will always be, I don't know how many organic fans he has for just being a DJ. You don't necessarily want your concerts to be BravoCon. It takes on it. It's a lot of volatility and stuff like that. Do you think that maybe that's why she doesn't?
I think probably after that season that she was on there as, Kyle's friend, that she was like, oh, okay, this is not what I want. Now, I don't know. Do you know Brandy Howard and Julie Goldman? Brandy and Julie?
Yeah.
Okay. So they were on a couple of weeks ago. They're friends of mine. And they were saying that I think it was somebody Brandy knows. It's Brandy's friend, Brandy's sister, somebody was at a concert of Morgan's that was in like Palm Desert or Palm Springs and said Morgan looked so miserable playing. And I said, oh, that's weird. Because I wonder why. And she said, I think it was because of the crowd that was there. Was like a bunch of like ladies that looked like me, like middle-aged ladies that were there, like hoping to get a glimpse of Kyle. And that Morgan seemed very annoyed. So she probably, in my thought, maybe after that first time she was on for a few episodes, maybe she was like, okay, this is not what I want. I'm like a tattooed country rocker. This is not, I don't want these middle-aged ladies with their iPhones slung around them in a fanny pack. That's not what I want. But guess what? They're still buying tickets.
Well, is that like one thing I always say about Bravo is like, it's a great business to be in because people will show up and they love to spend money. Bravo fans spend money. Bravo fans are loyal. They will go to, and I mean this in like a nice way, even though it's typically not use this expression this way. Like they'll go to an opening of an envelope. If the envelope has been kissed by LVP, like Bravo fans will do anything to continue to be a part of the universe. And so I think that, Morgan might see that as, I could see why maybe as a musician, you might consider that to be like a low quality fan because they're in through a side door and might not actually continue to be like patrons of her music once she's dropped from something like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And also the Bravo crowd can really turn on people.
Oh, yeah.
Like if they decide that, there were people who were genuinely going to Tom Sandoval's gigs before, he was really a laughing stock because they want to be around that Bravo energy. But then he, things went sideways for him with Scandoval, by his own doing. There was still big crowds out to see him, but they were people that hated him. And I wonder if that's Morgan's afraid of a little bit. And it probably is scarier for her as a gay woman in that space, to be, because there's a lot of intrigue around Kyle's sexuality. But like, there's also, so much at the same time, like misogyny, I think, in sometimes the Bravo fan base. And I think that maybe she's more vulnerable to that, like as a gay woman. But I don't know. I think Kyle's handling it in such a weird way.
I do too. I think, and the thing to me is not even weird about the relationship is not that it's like two women or that she's to me, it's that Morgan is the age of her daughter. To me, I'm like, oh,
Right.
why? To me, that's the weirder thing. Like, I don't really have anything I'm 56. I don't really have a lot in common with somebody in my daughter's age range in their 20s. I just don't. So
I
that's to
didn't
me is
realize-
an interesting dynamic.
I didn't know Morgan was that young. That's
I don't even,
interesting.
I think she's like 28. I mean, she's not even 30, I don't think. Now, listen, people are going to be like, oh my God, she's 31. Okay, so I'm off for a few years. But what I'm saying is she's definitely between like 28 and 32. She's a lot younger.
That's interesting. I had no idea. Yeah, that does make it feel a little more seedy. And I'm big on age gap friendships, generally
Sure.
speaking, but there's so much. There's quite a bit behind this that Kyle sort of downplaying it, maybe not saying the exact reason why is kind of, again, sort of feeding into this thing. And it's only going to bring more drama into it. I thought her explanations were really strange.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, because you brought her up, did you get in trouble? And then she's like, okay, so I didn't get in trouble. So I'm like, it's a weird dynamic there between the two of them. And I like that they brought Kathy Hilton out on this last episode because I just love a good Kathy Hilton moment. She's going to do something weird. Maybe it's put on. Maybe it's all performative. I don't care. I'm still here for it. I find her to be the wacky grandmother that we all need. And I fucking love Jennifer Tilly. Love Jennifer Tilly.
I'm obsessed with Jennifer Tilly. Kathy is weird, bit or not. Like, I think I think the fact that it could be a bit makes it even weirder. That she's kind of strange.
Yeah.
Because what a character to pick. I actually don't see her behavior as like neutralizing or like so odd that you assume she's innocent. Like, I think that type of behavior is very quite obviously deceptive, and she does seem like someone that I would be very careful around.
Yeah.
Jennifer Tilly, what a blast. Like,
Yeah.
she is this is like a fun rich person's hobby for her, which is what I think Real Housewives should be. I do have soft spots for the Brandys of the world, like the people who are doing this because they need a check.
Yeah.
I know it's so problematic that I have a soft spot for Brandi Glanville. But
I have a soft spot for Brandi Glanville too. I do.
I can never get over the introduction when Kim and Kyle bullied her and they took her crutch. That, I think, earned a real fan in me for sure. Like, especially as someone who is socially awkward, like has my own neurodivergence, and sort of I'm always like, wait a minute, like, you guys are being mean. Like, I always feel like I'm realizing after the fact that someone's been mean to me, and sometimes it'll take me like a month to figure it out.
I'm like, wait, I think they were making fun of me. I thought we were friends, but I guess not.
Like the whole thing was a joke. Oh, okay. So at my expense. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's the thing with Brandi. Like, I kind of just like, you win a loyal fan in me when I see something like that. And to me, that always told me exactly who Kim and Kyle were, like the level they came in on, that sort of exclusivity. I consider there to be like this ongoing war that no one really often identifies, which is between people that are Nepo babies and people who have made it in their own right. And I think that someone like Brandi is someone that people who are Nepo babies who feel they were like born into this, they always will other people like that and look down on them. And so I like that someone like Jennifer Tilly, who really so doesn't need this and so doesn't need to be there, will come in and just have fun with it. Why not?
I love her. I love she's just like, you know what? We're going to be here for a while. I'm going to have a snack. I don't give a shit. I like on the beach when they were, when she was trying to talk to, Dorit about, a settlement and dividing stuff with PK. And she said, when I was getting my divorce, I found out, my husband had $700,000. And so they were going to try to give me half of it. And so I just thought, wait, I need a lawyer. And so Kyle goes, so you got more than that? And she goes, I got a piece of The Simpsons. And Kyle's like, oh, yeah. I mean, her wealth level is Kathy Hilton level, probably more. It's in perpetuity, because Simpsons is never going to go away.
Yeah, I mean, a piece of The Simpsons is beyond, because it goes past any sort of like syndication or all that. It's beyond that. It's like she owns a portion of I'm sure, like the image and likeness of all of these characters. Yeah. And it, like, I can't think of anything that's more, really, it's like one of those true modern American things that's just iconography. Like, it's everywhere. You can put a Simpson anywhere and everywhere, and people will buy it and people will be happy to see it. It's like a weird, demented Disney offshoot in some ways. So
they have a whole Simpsons world at Universal. They have the whole town and everything there. You can go to the pub. It's like a whole thing at Universal Studios.
Yeah, she definitely has. I think she definitely has more than Kathy, especially since they've been cut out of when they were cut out of the Hilton Fortune or whatever. I feel like she's loaded. I was, those net worth websites aren't worth anything. Like, they're just completely made up. But if you had to guess, what do you think she has?
Okay, well, let me see if I could compare it to somebody. So let's get a baseline for comparison. So we would say, like, how much do you think, like Jennifer Aniston, we spoke of her earlier and her gorgeous hair. How much do you think she's worth? And then I'll go from that.
Oh, I would guess Jenny Ann is worth probably, I mean, with investments, I would not be surprised if she was worth like in the area of 400 million.
Okay. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like triple figures, million. And she's doing fine. And she has a really good hair product, Lola V. Like, my husband likes the hair
paste. Isn't it good?
Yeah.
I was looking at it the other day and I thought, don't be a sucker, Molly. Like, she doesn't use this shampoo,
Yeah. But I don't know if she does or she doesn't, but we had it for like 1 or 2 episodes as a sponsor. And so they sent a box. And so my husband likes a hair paste. I mean, but he likes like a hair paste, like put in his hair. And so I gave it to him. And after he was done, he goes, are you going to get more of this like for free, or should we buy it? I go, I could just buy it for you. But no, it was only like a 2 episode sponsor. But he has me continuing to buy it for him. He loves it.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, listen. I think she's worth a lot. And I think that a star like her is doing ads in like Japan. And I think that that's a lot of money. Like, she definitely has very long money, and that friend, I can't even imagine what
friend's money
pulls in. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got that. All right. So that's kind of our base. I would say Jennifer Tilly then is probably worth, are we going to say billion? Are we going to say she's worth $1 billion? Or are we going to say 800 million?
Yeah, I would guess somewhere in that area. I mean, her jewelry purchases are insane. I was very fascinated by her having that belt necklace and like the amount. She said she had a safety deposit vault.
Because Andy was like, just to make sure nobody goes to your house, or she's got 3 houses in LA. Like, nobody goes to her. She goes, no, it's in a vault. So I guess she just needs something. She just heads over to the vault, puts it on, goes to her event, heads back to the vault. I hope she doesn't have it in her house.
Like Crazy Rich Asians or Saudi money or something to have a vault at the bank. Like, we all heard about the boxes or whatever, but the idea of
2 keys in the box. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by that. And she seems very down to earth for someone who has that much money. There's something very accessible and real about her. And I'm sure, it probably wouldn't behoove someone to walk up to her and treat her like a friend at lunch. But I think that like for someone who has that amount of money, she seems very approachable.
And she's very, I think, kind of self-deprecating and funny about it. And she talks about the money, which I like. I like, if you've got a lot of money, let's just don't pretend that you don't. It's part of what's happening, Now, did you watch a new episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta? This was a good one for you to watch because it's a new season. I think it's only 4 or 5 episodes. And if you haven't watched it in a long time, you saw some familiar faces, but there's like 4 new people on the cast, which is it's like a soft relaunch.
Yeah. I kind of stopped watching Atlanta. I'm such a baby now that I look back on it, but I think I dipped out because I think I thought like the stuff around Kim's cancer was kind of mean. So that would be like season 2 of the show.
Okay, well, you've missed a lot. You missed a
Right, no,
lot.
I've missed a lot. But I was really intrigued by this group. They were all kind of new to me. I mean, I'm from the years of She by Sheree, etc.
Yeah,
So
love Sheree.
this was a wild episode. I could not believe that this was the end of a cast member being on the show.
So the thing is, okay, so Kenya, who's been on the show for a very long time, like she's in the zeitgeist, like you know who Kenya is, whether you're watching the show or not.
Yeah.
For her to open this hair salon, so there's this whole iconic thing that happened a few years ago where somebody else had a party and it was Marlo Hampton had a party and she had a product for edges, like under your wig, edges. She had an edges thing. So she's having a party because there's always a party for something. So she had a party for that. And Kenya had a hair care brand that literally is in Target, CVS. Like you could find it. It's a product that you could, it's a tangible thing that Kenya has called Kenya More Hair Care. I see it all the time at CVS. It makes me happy because like when Portia walked up to the party and was going, Kenya More Hair Care. That's because Kenya had a marching band march into Marlo Hampton's party for her hair product, chanting about her hair product. Kenya More Hair Care. Kenya. So that's why everybody says it now. It's stuck in the zeitgeist. So for her to have this dream, and she's had this product for 10 years, it's very successful. For her to have this dream to have a salon in Atlanta where ladies will want to come because it's beautifully done and she's an icon in Atlanta of this community, and to have this and dedicate it to her daughter. She wants to have a legacy for her daughter who she had this terrible ex-husband.
Yeah.
And to do all that and it to be such a beautiful thing and then pull out these posters of another cast member giving a blowjob. Like, what are we doing?
I can't imagine what would put someone in the mental space where they would ever go to Kinko's or whatever and print out. I don't even know I was wondering who the hell printed this
on a poster. Yeah.
Where did she get the poster board? Because like, I mean, does she own an in-house printing place? Like who would even do something
who
like
would agree to do it? Yeah.
But I mean, it is so for aggressively illegal to do that, but also aggressively cruel. And I just did not, I think maybe what I was missing was some context on what the hell she did to her, because I just couldn't imagine that anyone did anything to show such intimate, like, frankly, like amateur as well. Like probably, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen the pictures, but I imagine that they were probably like home camera, very intimate, like very invasive photos of such like a deeply intimate and you know, a lot of people would say, is this degrading in practice? No. Is it degrading to show imagery of it if you didn't consent to that? I would say that that's like can be considered degrading.
Totally.
That particular act is just so I could not I need to know from you. This is where please lead me through America, your country. What the hell happened that she thought this was an appropriate escalation?
It's wild because I've seen interviews that Kenya has done where she explained that she felt very, very threatened by Britt. So she felt, and she went to production and said, this girl is threatening me. I feel threatened. And production did nothing about it. Now, why then she thought this was the way to fix it instead of just like the verbal sparring like they do. What happened was when she first met her at Shamia's house, Shamia had a $9 million house. It was the second largest real estate purchase in Atlanta like 5 years ago. Like Shamia's husband is like does HVAC for airports and like stadiums.
HVAC is money, honey.
Yeah. She was like, I wish I could say he was a Nigerian prince, but literally it's HVAC. I was like, great. So they were at that house and Britt is standing there and she has this huge rock, you know, on her finger but no like band, just like a engagement ring. And so I guess Kenya kind of said, is that a new she doesn't know her. So she asked, I guess she asked if that was her engagement ring or something. And Britt kind of rudely was like, it's my second one. My man got me a second ring. And she goes, oh, like, is this your second marriage? Like, I don't understand. She's like, no, I got a ring. And then my man gave me a second ring. And so it was like for an anniversary. And she's like, oh, okay. So you're married or you're not married? And she wasn't, maybe she was being bitchy, but I kind of felt like she was just confused. So then Britt was like, I don't like Kenya because she was rude about my ring. Okay. So, but this is how everything on this show goes. This is why we watch, because it's ridiculous, right? So,
well, based on what you just said, I think I'm kind of on Britt's side, just because I wonder, like, is that hard for Kenya to grasp, but that maybe her husband got her an upgraded ring?
I think it was just a weird back and forth. It was like, who's on first? And then Britt took offense to it. And Kenya's like, whatever. Because Kenya's been on the show for so long. She's sort of like, I don't care about these new people. Right. And kind of treated the new people as such. So then last week, what happened was they went somewhere to a dinner. You know, everything's an event, right? So they're at these long tables and everybody had to put a question in the bucket. And then they went around and picked them out.
I saw that. Yeah.
And so Britt got a question that Shamia later admitted that she wrote, which was, you know, why are you so hard on Britt or something like that? I can't remember the exact question. And so Kenya's like, well, and every time Kenya would start to talk, Britt would talk over her. And Kenya is just sort of like, I think her whole idea is like, I've been on this show for 10 years. I'm the queen of the show. And you're not going to come in as a new person to speak to me this way. Whereas Britt's like, I can speak however I want. Like, I'm a successful businesswoman. You can't tell me. That's sort of the underlying of like, I'm the queen of the show and you don't get to speak to me that way. Right. So they went back and forth where it was like, you're not letting me talk. You're not letting me talk. And Kenya said, you know, something like peasants shouldn't sit with queens or something like that. Okay. In the words of Dorinda Medley, like pigeons don't fly with eagles. You know, it's the same idea.
I love Dorinda.
Yeah, the same. Pigeons can fly with eagles. Something like that. Something like that. So as they were leaving, okay, everybody's gathering up their gift bags and stuff. And so Kenya is saying like, to Portia's giving her rides at your car. So Kenya is over here having a whole conversation with like getting your bag, probably like the production man, like who's going to take whatever. But over here is Britt talking to Kelly, who's the little short girl. She's the waffle queen. She has like a waffle restaurant. She's so cute. And she's saying to her, I can't believe she's just kind of talking smack under her breath. Like, I can't believe Kenya was saying all that shit to me, blah, blah. Kelly's like, don't worry about it. Like, oh, it's fine, whatever. Like, you know, basically we're new, chill out. Like just maybe, but she was very, very heated. Britt was about how she's very heated. So she started saying she should be lucky I don't have my pistol. If I had my pistol there, we would have a problem. So she's not once. She said it several times. And then she's getting into her car. She was like, because she was trying to talk to Kenya, who was completely just ignoring her and only talking to production and to Portia, she was riding with. And she's again saying she doesn't even know. It's a good thing I don't have my other purse and my pistol. And I also have a whip or something like a pistol and a whip. Then her husband comes up.
To me, I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Like where I'm from, there are not a lot of there's not a lot of gun violence in Massachusetts. I am not from gun culture. I'm very uncomfortable around guns. To me, there's something very, very antisocial whenever I hear someone say like, well, you don't want to come on my property or like, be careful, like you come any closer. Like anytime someone mentions a gun, that's very antisocial to me. And I understand that like, you know, in, you know, certain parts of the country, like one might be, you know, have a different attitude towards guns. To me, guns are very antisocial.
Oh, it's super scary. Yeah. It's super scary for her to be mentioning it several times that she has a gun. She's got a gun. She's a good thing she doesn't have her gun, that kind of thing. So when her husband comes to pick her up, she's kind of walking off. But of course, her mic is still on and he's trying to help her take her because she's saying all this stuff. And he goes, do you have your mic on? The husband does. He goes, let's take it off. Like, because she's very agitated and he's trying to like calm her down and also quit saying that stuff. You know?
Yeah.
So Kenya hears about all of it. Obviously, either she heard it and ignored it or they told her later or something. So that is where it comes where she says she felt threatened and felt production wasn't helping her. So what I'm saying is two wrongs don't make a right. Okay. So Britt felt offended by her, which we could understand. She was speaking to her very rudely.
Sure, yeah.
But then she said the thing about I've got a gun, which is also bad. But then what Kenya did is like the punishment didn't match the crime. right? It to pull out those pictures. Her whole thing was like, let me show you who this cast member is. She's trash. Let me show you why. Well, by the way, you could just tell people she's trash and point them to a website. You don't have to pull out a poster from Kinko's at your opening of your business that you've tried to open for like 5 years. It's such self-sabotage. It makes no sense to me.
Well, does she have are these images out here because she did some sort of consensual adult film, or are those out there because I know that she also was a video girl, if I pick on that. And so I know sometimes like these video girls get dragged to the gossip blogs and stuff like that. Yeah. He's released without her consent at some point.
I do not know if this was from some sort of like soft porn she did, an OnlyFans, if it's out on the web and she was able to just print it from her computer, or if Kenya had to like dig hard to find it and somebody sent it to her and then she'd get the Kinko's. To me, it's sort of like whether it came off Britt's personal phone or it was on OnlyFans, either way, I don't know where it came from. And I guess we're going to get more of that next week. But either way, it is such a weird choice to print this out. Like you said, like where'd she get the poster to print it? And to self-sabotage her own event by showing like a blowjob pic of this other cast member who she just doesn't like. It's so like, and I can't believe that they've let her go because of it. And she's been a staple on the show for so long. It's all like, it's a mind fuck.
Yeah. I like, to be clear, like I still don't, regardless of the source of the image, I still don't think I think it's complete. I just think it's so whacked out to degrade yourself even by being, this is the type of person I am. I'm going to hold up pornographic images at this event. I feel like that's a great way to hurt the future of her business. I feel like there's a lot of people that aren't going to want to interact with that. Yeah. I think Bravo, part of the reason why I was asking if the pictures were initially consensual is because I know that revenge porn is at the top of Bravo's mind probably right now in regards to their reckoning, which I believe is put on pause or whatever. But there's been, instances of that with Scandival, like revenge porn. And so this is, they absolutely had to pull her for this. I'm dying to know what more is there, because there has to be something more. You don't go from, you're lucky I don't have my gun to, I'm going to respond to that with, I think
it just doesn't make sense.
It's greater violence to me. Like a suggestion of a gun is less than bringing out these really intimate, compromising images and showing them to everyone. And secondly, that is assault to everyone who is there. Like that is a form of assault to like show people images without their consent. It's shocking that she did that. Oh, she must have really lost it.
Yeah. And it's because you're thinking she had it there the whole time and Britt came to the party and left. And you're thinking this is the time in her mind. She should have been like, why did I think that was we're not going to do it. But she kept on with it. And that's what makes no sense. Cause it's like you're saying, it's like, it's totally apples and oranges. Like this doesn't warrant this. Nothing warrants what Kenya did at all. So you're sort of like, it makes no sense. I don't know what other explanation we're going to get from Kenya's side, from her camp. I know the interview I'm talking about Kenya was on the Tamron Hall show, I think before the season started, to explain like, yes, I was asked to leave because I felt very unsafe. I felt very unprotected. I felt I was being actually threatened and production did nothing about it. And then she says she regrets what she did, but she also stands by the fact that she felt like production wasn't protecting her. But again, it's like, I don't know. And of course I feel like the bad thing or the good thing, depending on how you look at it, is Bravo eventually forgives everybody, because we've got Phaedra coming back to Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she got kicked off initially for the rumors that she spread about Candy and her husband.
Yeah.
And now she's coming back,
I can't believe this. So is Kenya... So it was out what Kenya did before. This isn't a big surprise what Kenya did, right?
No, everybody knew it was coming. I didn't think it was going to be happening at her own event. I thought she would go to somebody's event to try to sabotage it. That would make more sense. So when it came out last night, I was like, whoa, I didn't realize at her own salon opening that she's crying over this legacy for her daughter. And then I don't get it. I don't get it.
one of those moments where I think it colors the entire history of someone on a show when you realize that they're capable of that. It's one of those moments that you'll sometimes experience with, there was a lot of moments of this of New York over the years, especially I think like Jill had a big undoing at one point, or Bethany, like where you have a moment where they do something that shows exactly who they are in a new way, and it sheds light on all their behavior. The fact that this behavior was living somewhere within Kenya is very alarming. I think it's very alarming. Like, do you feel now that you know that she's capable of this, are there other instances throughout the show that you look back now and you realize, oh, she can go a lot darker and a lot dirtier than I ever thought? Maybe this person that I sided with, Kenya, maybe they had some points, or maybe they saw something in her that I could not see because you hadn't been shown it yet.
Yeah, I think back on several seasons back, probably 5-6 years at least. One of Portia's first seasons, she and Kenya got into like a physical fight at the reunion because Kenya had a literal bullhorn, and when Portia would talk, she would turn that bullhorn towards her, and Portia's like, "Oh my God!" Like this is so. Portia like pulled her hair, like threw her to the ground. It was really bad. It was very bad, and at the time, Portia got sidelined for a season or two because of that. It was really bad. And so you look back at it now, you're like, Kenya has always been a button pusher. You know, she's always done that. And she makes for great TV, but this was not the move. And your point also, I heard John Hill saying it on Radio Andy this morning about other people, when you pulled that up and other people turned away because they're like, oh my God, like I didn't ask to see that. I didn't consent to see that. Everybody here, and I think all of the ladies leaving, and especially Portia, who's also been on the show, as long as Kenya as an OG, to be like, I don't want to be a part of this, and I need you to turn that camera off me. Like, I don't want anybody to know. I want it to be known that I turned around and left.
Yeah, for professional reasons, for like, I mean, honestly, like, I don't think it should escalate to this, but I mean, that is something that people she could be arrested for what she did.
Totally. It'll be very interesting to see, because now Britt, who people were kind of like, she bugs, whatever. Now she's going to be lifted up and Kenya's down because of what Kenya did, which was the opposite of what she thought. She thought everybody was going to be like, oh, okay, Kenya, you're so cool. And then they're going to hate this new girl, Britt, but that's not what happened,
It's so incredibly cruel, and it's so disturbing. And when I was watching it, I was wondering if I was even seeing things right, because I don't think that I had ever seen things escalated to that level before on one of the shows. And I think one of the reasons why when Jersey started, and I hate to be digging back into these vintage archives so much, but
okay.
It was so groundbreaking that this information about Danielle and like the book and all of that was so groundbreaking, because we had never gone there with any of these shows before. And to I can't think of someone's personal business being aired out in such a way in so long. And this is just so it's so degrading. I can't believe that Kenya, who so many people like, and so many people have nice things to say about, and there's so many people who are loyal and all this stuff. It's really a game changer for her. I don't know how she plans to move about the rest of her life with this out there. I think it's very interesting that she wasn't showing more contrition for those actions on Tamron Hall when she had the opportunity to get ahead of it. Maybe it was just saving face. Maybe she really doesn't believe that there's anything wrong with what she did.
It'll be interesting to see, now that we've seen what the rumor was, what happened, but now that we've seen it for ourselves on TV, it'll be interesting to see. I didn't watch What Happens Live on Monday night afterwards, because usually they'll have some. I'll have to go back and see that, and I'm not sure. I bet Atlanta probably has an after show. I know, like Beverly Hills and Salt Lake have an after show that's on Peacock. I'd have to go and see that, and then you get a hot take of it'll be like the people at the party. The other cast members that maybe weren't a part of that storyline will sort of give their opinion. So I'll be interested to see how it plays out. And so now I think that my legacy here is that I've gotten you now to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Oh, no, absolutely. I'm back.
Now you're in.
I mean, now that the thing is that I sometimes am now that I'm back in it, because I've watched this but for you, like
Yeah.
I am, and I feel like I still don't know enough. I wish I had studied better, but I was just so excited to talk to you that I like, I realize I'm not the most with it guest that you could have had, but now it's unfortunately we've opened a new door for me where I'm going to have to watch this to completion.
Yeah.
So please, Mary Payne, have me back because I'll be a student of it.
Yeah. We'll have to come back towards the end of the season and have you back. And then you can tell me with the journey that we've been on with these ladies. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, thank God I'm sad that it was that what happened, but it was, what an episode to wind up on. And now she's just, I mean, do you think that's a permanent off the show thing? I feel like Bravo's legal department doesn't want the heat.
Well, we'll see because it'll probably be like 2 seasons off. And then if Britt is still on, it'll probably be like, no, I've forgiven her. That's how it always goes, but we'll see. I mean, Kenya makes for good TV. Maybe she could be on, the villains the next time, that kind of get some castaways around that show. I kind of watched the first season of that when Jax was on because I was interested. And then I watched a little bit of the second season. Teresa was on because I was interested in that. But then I was like, you know what, this is low even for me.
Yeah.
And I go pretty low.
Has she done Traders yet?
Kenya was not on Traders. Phaedra was on season 1 of Traders. And she was excellent.
I watched that. She was great on that. That's how I really know Phaedra is from Traders. I thought she was awesome.
She's really good on Real Housewives of Atlanta. But and then she was on Married to Med for a bit as a spouse of somebody who worked in a hospital. I don't even know if they had any medical connection. I don't watch that show. But now she is coming back. And I don't know, but I think it's a little bit of what we talked about earlier with Lala and Sheena coming in to sort of take the space of Jax. I think because Kenya as an OG is going off, they asked Phaedra if she would come on to fill in. And so that's good for us because Phaedra's very funny.
Yeah. She's great. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, I mean, what an episode that was.
What an episode. Okay. So tell the listeners about Trend Lightly, which is your current, which by the way, Trend Lightly and Solid Listen are great names of podcasts and podcast network. Those are great names.
I do. I love naming things. I think that's, I've heard that's like one of the things I got from my dad and I believe it. I love a good name, but Trend Lightly is a weekly pop culture trending news podcast where we talk about all the things that are trending online, things that are trending broadly, things that are trending more in our niches. And sometimes we do things that we think should be trending, like our little special interests that may not have made the wide trends, but are trending with us. And that's a lot of fun. I love when there's a great story that pops up because I just love to throw my back into that. And I also want to encourage everyone to come out on May 8th to our show. It's me, Meredith, and Rob, and it's going to be at West Side Comedy in Santa Monica, 8 p.m. on May 8th. And you can also check out in Boston. We'll be at Laugh Boston on June 25th. And I think we might be doing a second event on the 26th. That's going to be a little bit more intimate, but fun in a different way. It's going to be great. So yeah, those are my main things. And Mother May I Sleep With podcast. It's a long-term, sorry, let me try that again. It's a long-term Lifetime original movie recap show. Sometimes we do Law and Order episodes and
cool.
Yeah, we mix it up. And I think for sometime in May, I'd love to pick your brain about this and Kira's show that's coming out in May. I kind of want to do a complete break away from Lifetime and, all these different sort of people being tortured shows and maybe mix up the feed a little bit by recapping a reality show. And I'd love to get some suggestions from you for what's going to be out in May.
Okay. All right.
And I'd love to have you on.
Yeah, I would love to come out. Those podcasts are like 4 hours long.
Well, I try to do, I think when I do a reality show, it'll be much shorter. But typically they go as long as the person and I want to talk. And so, yeah, that tends to be about right.
And again, we're podcasters. So like I said earlier, like we tend to talk a lot. Yeah. talks too much. Was Andy Cohen's book called Most Talkative? I think it was.
Yes.
And that's any podcaster I've ever talked to, when you get your report card when you're little, like back when they would write, mine always said like talks too much, too talkative, talks too much, checking all those boxes. So it's paid off for me, I guess.
Absolutely. We're a bunch of jabber boxes, and it just happened to be our time to shine. When
it hit just right.
When microphones became affordable and the MacBooks and all this stuff was right here, all the magic came together for us chatty kids.
I think so. I think it's the golden age of podcasting. Although just at all these we just went to the podcast conference in Chicago and went to the one in LA last year, and they're telling you at every single panel and every single speaker, podcasting is all moving to YouTube. So everything is video. And I'm like, isn't that the reason we became podcasters, to not be on video? But here we are on video.
Show that Gen Z they prefer audio only. I saw a study come out about that recently. So it's so interesting that it's more people maybe our age who are moving over to YouTube. I'm a listener.
I'm a listener too, but a lot of people start listening on YouTube and they watch and they just, and so I think what somebody said on a panel and my producer told me is that the kids these days, and I've got a couple, the kids these days, they use YouTube really as like we use Google. They look everything up on YouTube, whereas I look everything up on Google. So it's confusing, but listen, I just show up and do what they tell me. So tell everybody where they can follow you. We know you've got the Trend Lightly podcast. You've got your show May 8th in LA. Everybody go if you're in the LA area. And then where can we follow you on the socials?
I'm Malls on social media. So Malls on X, Twitter, God rest its soul. I show up there sometimes. I am on Blue Sky. It's malls.bsky.social, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always just like, it's this whatever on Blue Sky, but it's, Yeah,
I am not the most Instagrammy person. I feel so bad. I wish I had that connection that everyone else seems to have with it. But I'll be on, you'll see me on Threads. And I'm on TikTok. My username there is It's Big Molly, ITSBIG Molly.
Okay.
That's what I called. I went to Japan once and I thought I probably couldn't go boutique shopping because I'm like a American size 6. And so I was like, they'll probably think of me as Big Molly. And that nickname just stuck for me. So yeah.
I love that. It's Big Molly. I'm a size 6. I'm a big girl. I mean, that's
I'm
crazy.
only like 5'7", but I always feel, I don't know if anyone grew up like a little bit on the 5'7" side of things, like you feel gigantic and tall and very big. So
yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'4.5".
Yeah.
But I say 5'5".
That's I dream of, I've always been so jealous of like the 5'4" girls. I feel like you really got it going on.
I disagree. I'm jealous of the 5. My daughter's 5'8", and I'm jealous I think that's just about right.
How old?
My husband's 6'4".
Oh, wow.
So I look like a little shrimpy next to him.
Well, that must be nice. But
the whole family is tall. Yeah.
How old's your daughter?
She's 22.
So cool. That must be such a nice age.
Yeah, she's not in school. She lives here. She runs a dog walking business. And then my son is like frat guy at college. So they're very different. But
I love that. Yeah, your daughter must be so pumped that this is what you're into.
She loves it. She loves it. She loves she's always like hyping me up, which is nice. She comes in here and
that's
get in my office. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. All right, we're hanging up. Don't hang up. Everybody follow Molly. You can find her at Malls or It's Big Molly on TikTok. And again, you guys are in LA, go check out that show. Thanks. Please. Ads not not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.